You know, I wanted to beat a dead horse for this episode. But surprisingly, you can't buy dead horses on Amazon. This is a 3DS. New 3DS XL. New 2DS XL. Unholy abomination. Wait, why are we talking about the 3DS in 2021? Can it play Call of Duty Vanguard? Okay, so maybe not that, but there's a ton of stuff to play on the 3DS. If you include the DS library, and every version of the 3DS family of consoles plays DS games, you're looking at nearly 3,500 games to choose from, which can be a little daunting. But today I want to talk about my favorite 3DS game, and that is Fantasy Life, a cute little action RPG by Level 5, the makers of great games like the Professor Layton series, Ni no Kuni, Yokai Watch, and many others. All of these games get their fair share of love and attention, but nobody talks about Fantasy Life. It seems to have fell between the cracks.
Why won't you fit?
Don't dismiss this game because it's cute. There is a surprising amount of depth here for a portable game. Not even including the DLC for this game, you can easily spend 40 or 50 hours just building up one character. At the start of the game, you are given the opportunity to design your character. You can choose male or female, tall or short, fat or thin, eyes, mouth, even voice. But then you have to choose a life path. And this is where it gets interesting. There are 12 different life paths the player can pick before starting the game. All of the lives in this game often overlap, that is, one life may require items or gear that can only be gathered or crafted by another life. There are 3 types of classes with several different life paths in each. You can have your combat class, which includes Paladin, Hunter, Mercenary, and Magician. Then the Gatherer class, which includes Woodcutter, Miner, and Angler. And then the Crafting class, where you have Cook, Tailor, Blacksmith, Alchemist, and Carpenter. Each life you start out with includes a unique starting story and training missions, along with unique quests along the way that interact with the main story in different ways. Obviously, the combat classes will have quests that involve killing monsters and leveling up character and weapon stats, where your crafting and gathering classes will focus on other skills that you must level up. The neat thing about this class system is that they all complement each other throughout the story, and in order to really master the game, you will need to master at least 2 or 3 different life paths. You can change your life path at any time in the game, and you will need to, because acquiring the best gear for one life will require some mastery of other skills to get the best gear. For example, as a paladin, you would be wise to increase your skills with blacksmithing and tailoring so you can craft better weapons and armor, and as a magician you may want to master alchemy and mining to acquire items and recipes to craft magical items. This game is easy enough to get into that a child could enjoy it, while being so complex to master that it presents literally hundreds of hours of variety to accomplish even a fraction of what is available to discover. At the beginning of the game, you will meet a troublesome talking butterfly. After getting it out of trouble a couple of times, the two of you become friends, and there are hints throughout the game that there is more to Butterfly than meets the eye. After this, the two of you go to meet the King of Castile in the land of Riveria. King Eric is cursed to live in the body of a young child by the king of a rival land. Eric welcomes you to your new path, and after a little more tutorial, you are given your first glimpse to the main story and sent on the first of many story-based quests. Throughout your playthrough, you will have to visit many different whimsical locations where you will find monsters to fight, dungeons where you can level up and collect bounties, and tons of side quests, many of which require some level of proficiency in the other life paths. You will meet other adventurers along the way, many of whom will join your party for a little while, but you mostly fight on your own until later in the game where you gain the ability to ask certain characters to join up with you. Scattered throughout the various lands are monsters and enemies that cannot be killed easily, especially during most of your initial playthrough. Luckily, there are no random encounters and you can run away from any fight at any time. Most of these boss encounters are designed for late or post-game content, as the DLC is heavily focused on leveling up your character through combat. You will naturally reach level 30 or so on one playthrough, but the game allows your characters to reach level 100 with the optional DLC, so there is a ton of post-game content to explore. Throughout your playthrough, there are all kinds of items you can gather, and making dosh, the in-game currency, depends on gathering and crafting to make money you need to do things like buy a house and buy furniture and decorations. You can buy clothing, weapons, and consumables too, so there's always something to spend your dosh on, and you'll constantly need to be thinking about what you can do between story segments to fatten your bankroll. All in all, despite being painfully cute, like most level 5 games, Fantasy Life has more than enough real meat on the bones to entertain and challenge any seasoned gamer who gives it a chance. I do not hesitate for 1 second to say that Fantasy Life is the best game on the 3DS. Sure, there may be a lot of other really big hitters between the DS and 3DS libraries, like the Dragon Quest games, Radiant Historia, the early Final Fantasy titles, and yeah, this is only my opinion, but I have been playing this game on and off for over 3 years at this point, and it remains my most played game on the platform. I just started a brand new file a couple of weeks ago when I got a new 2DS XL. I wanted a fresh start because my Paladin character, even after all this time, I had not seen everything there was to see. But I have so much invested in him I didn't want to change lives anymore, so now I'm working on a female magician character, and it's like playing a brand new game. The combat is totally different. You've got ranged attacks with various elemental variables to choose from rather than your sword and shield melee attacks, and enough changes to the quests and story to keep me entertained for another 40 or 50 hours. Look, I can't tell you what to do, but hey, what's the point of having a YouTube channel if I can't try, right? As much as I absolutely love Fantasy Life, it's a fantastic game on the system. If you are looking on the fence about picking up a 3DS or one of the 3DS family of consoles, I would highly recommend picking up the new variant. That is the newest model of the 3DS or 2DS. And there are so many games that you can access with those consoles. There's everything on those consoles, from 2D platformers like Kirby Robobot, of course there's Mario titles, Chibi Robo Ziplash. I mean, sorry Scott, it's just not that bad of a game. If you're into something more mature, something like Metal Gear Solid 3D is a great way to go on the go. If you're into retro collections, things like this Sega 3D Classics collection, there's some great games on here that you don't normally see on those Genesis collections on other systems. Indie games like Cave Story 3D, strategy RPGs like Fire Emblem. There's several Fire Emblem games on the 3DS, and they're all fantastic. If you're into farming simulations, there's things like the Story of Seasons series and Harvest Moon. Fighting games like Super Smash Bros., which is an excellent game on the 3DS. If you like more traditional JRPGs, we've got things like the Dragon Quest series and the Final Fantasy series, racing games like Ridge Racer 3D, and of course Mario Kart 7, which is fantastic. Anyways guys, any way you choose to play, if you're looking to pick up a 3DS and you're looking for some great games, they're pretty easy to find, but they are going up in price, so now is the time. Hit that like button if you would on your way out. It helps me out a ton in terms of getting this video in front of more eyeballs, which is what we want if I want to be motivated to make more content, right? Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, because there's all kinds of content like this every week and you don't want to miss an episode. Thanks so much, guys. Stay classy.